Weekend at Burnsies is such an interesting episode of The Simpsons, as I feel like they took a lot of risks with this and could potentially divide people. And honestly, I enjoyed the episode quite a lot. I think it's very well written. There are certainly things in it that I found to be quite fascinating, and because I feel like they're really pushing the boundaries in this particular episode, it's just really compelling. This is the 16th episode of the 13th season, directed by Jim Reardon and Michael Marcantel, and Homer ends up using medical marijuana, which in itself is something that I hadn't expected, because I think the legalizing of marijuana, and I'm probably not going to say that word too many times in this video, otherwise I will get demonetized, but the legalizing of it is something that people feel very strongly about, as we see in this, or people are saying that it shouldn't be legalized and trying to revoke that right. And I feel like the episode took a pretty balanced stance. Without kind of going into too much detail about how it did that, as I don't want to spoil it, we kind of have the users of the medication, and also recreational users, who obviously are very much in favour of it. And then we have, for example, Homer's family, other people who are very much against it. And I feel like they were balanced, but maybe slightly in favour of it, of legalised medicinal, not necessarily of just recreational use. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I was really fascinated with the fact that they chose to do this narrative, because it could divide viewers and it could turn people against the show, which I hope hasn't happened, because, as I said, it's generally balanced, maybe slightly more in favour of. And for a show like this to take a stance like that is a pretty bold move. The episode, for reference, is 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb across 1.9 thousand reviews and ratings, and that's one of the highest rated episodes in so many seasons. So clearly it's well done. As I said, it was very well animated and very well written. There are so many just one-liners and things that are really funny. And my favourite, because it really took me by surprise, this is yet another thing where I feel like they pushed a boundary, is what Mr. Burns says. And I guess this is a tiny spoiler. Do I have anything else non-spoiler to say? No, I don't think I do. I think I've said all of my non-spoilery stuff. Well animated, definitely a bold move. I think it paid off, it worked well. I think it's enjoyable. Even, I'm speaking as somebody who's, I don't want to say I'm against the use of marijuana, but I've got no interest in it. So for me, it's not like I'm going, woo, drugs, because I don't care. And even if my doctor prescribed it to me, I'd be very hesitant to take it just because of, just because I would. But even then, I really enjoyed this episode. So, spoiler from now, I'm just going to mention one line that I absolutely loved, and I would love to know if this line aired on broadcast, because I don't think The Simpsons has ever used this word before. They might have done, I could be wrong. Maybe it's just because it came out of Mr. Burns' mouth. And I should point out, I'm not offended by this word. I use this word all the time. But he says, and I will censor myself because it's YouTube, but Mr. Burns says, I peed it all away. Or I peed it away, but peed is P-I-S-S-E-D. And it just took me so much by surprise that I just burst out laughing, because I just hadn't expected it. And I could be wrong. Maybe that word has featured in The Simpsons before, and maybe it just, it just passed me by. But certainly, on this occasion, and because of, how bold the episode is being, it just really amused me and entertained me, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. A very creative, well-written episode, that took some risks, I think, but I think they paid off. The whole crowbar thing as well. Oh, absolutely. Really, really brilliant episode. Definitely one of the best in a long time, and one that I will always be happy to watch.